You probably have heard a lot about downtown Livermore. You probably have heard some conflicting information. You're probably kind of confused about what's going on. Well, let me tell you a little bit about how Livermore is getting developed. To understand the downtown controversy, we need to go back, way back, all the way back to 2001. In 2001, Livermore started to figure out a vision for revitalizing downtown. The city made changes like rerouting Highway 84 so it wouldn't go through the middle of downtown, changing First Street from 4 lanes down to 2, making parking diagonal rather than parallel, adding some trees and allowing businesses to use outdoor spaces. This made walking downtown feel safer, creating more foot traffic, allowing for more customers at businesses, and made downtown feel like a more vibrant place to be. As Livermore's downtown developed, the city decided to purchase the property known as Livermore Village. The city used $14 million from the Affordable Housing Fund to purchase that downtown site. This means the city has to put affordable housing on the site or has to pay back the $14 million. Originally, the city was going to put a large amount of housing on that site so that a percentage of it could be affordable housing and they could pay back the loan. Many of Livermore's residents were not happy with this idea. Then the city brought in a developer. The developer was Lennar Multifamily Communities, and they brought them in to design a new plan that featured a large parking garage and less housing units. A large portion of the community was still unhappy with the 260 units of housing. The city asked the Lennar plan to try and get more community engagement about what should be put on the Livermore Village site. The city commissioned a new Livermore Downtown Steering Committee that would figure out ways to engage the community for what should go on that site. After many meetings, the committee decided that they would present concept plans and have several community meetings around town to get local input. The purpose of these community meetings was to get priorities from Livermore residents on what they wanted, not to pick a concept plan. After many community meetings and online engagement, the results were tabulated. A list of 10 priorities were organized into a list of priorities that people wanted to see for the downtown site. Parking was the number one priority for most people. People wanted to make sure that there was plenty of parking no matter what went downtown. The second was community character and design. What this was making sure that buildings weren't too tall and that building materials would be similar to what already is downtown. Making sure that downtown was interconnected with one another, not excluding any business from another business. 3 was open space. Open space was important to a lot of people. People wanted to make sure that there was some sort of open space in the downtown project. Number 4 was traffic and circulation. This was to make sure that people could get to where they wanted to go quickly. Number 5, hotel. This isn't the debate over where the hotel would go. This was the debate on if there should be a hotel. Number 6, retail. People were also wanting retail in the downtown lot, making sure that there was new businesses and new restaurants and bars to go to. Number 7, location of the hotel. This is the debate on whether the hotel would go on the east side of Livermore Avenue or the west side of Livermore Avenue. Number 8, cultural facilities. These are facilities like science centers, small theaters, museums, and art galleries. Number 9, public finance. This was to make sure that downtown wasn't going to be a burden on future generations, that the city would actually have the money to pay for the things that they put in place. And the last priority, number 10, housing. This was housing being placed on the downtown lot. During the process, several community groups got together to talk about what they wanted to see downtown. This led to the involvement of the Livermore Stockmen's Association. With the Stockmen's Association involvement, these community groups came up with a great idea. The Stockmen's Association owns property behind Livermore City Hall off Pacific Avenue. The Stockmen's Association proposed that they would donate the property to be used for low-income senior housing, in exchange for a memorial dedicated to veterans and the rodeo and ranching heritage of Livermore, and naming rights to a park to be located at the site. Now, with the extra land, the different community groups got together and developed a new concept plan called the Unified Plan. The plan would feature a hotel either on the southeast corner of Railroad Avenue and Livermore Avenue, or the southeast corner of Railroad Avenue and L Street, a parking plaza next to Blacksmith Square with surrounding retail, a black box theater next to a science center, large amounts of parking, and housing placed on the side where the hotel isn't. This all leads up to the November 27th, 2017 City Council meeting.
Good evening. Good evening and welcome to the November 27th meeting of the Livermore City Council. I now call the meeting to order. Good evening to you in the audience, at home, also in the multi-service center and the police community room. So you're all on board. So appreciate that.
This was the meeting that the city was going to take input from people and the community findings and make decisions on what to do going forward. Many people came out in support of two different plans. The concept plan called West Side A or the concept Unified Plan. Many different community groups came out in support of the Unified Plan, including
the Livermore Valley Wine Growers Association,
the Livermore Stockmen's Rodeo Association,
the Livermore Shakespeare Festival,
Livermore Downtown, Inc.,
Innovation Tri-Valley Leadership Group,
the business owners, managers, and employees from Blacksmith Square.
Over 100 people spoke that night, delaying the council to finish the meeting on November 29th, 2017. On November 29th, the City Council started to give direction to city staff on developing two plans. First, the city wanted to make sure that no matter what plan they picked, that they would honor the Stockmen's Association deal and be able to secure the property behind City Hall. Then the council went down the list of priorities, looking at what the community had prioritized. They started with making sure that both plans would contain enough parking to maintain the current amount of spots and spots that would be added by adding other things. They decided that the best location for a parking garage would be right here. Then the council talked about community character and design. They wanted to make sure that anything built next to Blacksmith Square didn't overshadow Blacksmith Square. They also wanted to make sure that building materials were similar to what the rest of downtown looked like. Then they looked at open space. They wanted to make sure that some sort of open space was included in these plans. Then the council went through the rest of the priorities, making sure that each one was a part of both of the plans that they were going to propose. When the City Council reached housing, its last priority and one of the most polarizing topics, it seemed like the council was able to come to a consensus.
That's 130 units of pure workforce and up to maybe 100 units. That's 230 units. This is way more than anything that was ever conceived when this thing first got started. And it's covering all of the financials, and it's only putting 130 units in the downtown. So this, that's the analysis that I went through. And then I think if just look at the number of people that showed up on Monday night and really spoke very strongly and articulately on the need for the workforce housing. So I'm suggesting 130 in that range of workforce housing, and that we do that. We don't have a lot of financial problem, and if I can get if you guys agree, then we can talk about where.
130 workforce controlled rent units to that just solves a lot of problems, I think, that we haven't addressed or haven't really determined to this point. Now this gives the opportunity to make a start, certainly not a finish.
Yeah, 130, and then also we're talking about rental housing, but we're talking about full units. We're not talking about there was some early discussion about live work, but we're looking to bring in people that are working in this community, people like the teachers, service providers, public safety, and the people that actually live here, that work here in Livermore. So hopefully they don't.
And as you're aware, our affordable programs do have preferences for folks who both live here and or work here, and both. We've also done preferences for certain classes. First responders, teachers, and others have also been, depending on the funding sources used, those could be either stronger or gentler preferences, but we've had a pretty good track record of actually being able to implement many of the council goals as we move forward on that.
So this is where we are at the start of 2018. The council has decided to make 2 plans. All plans would include a Stockman's Park and Memorial, a space for a black box theater and science center if the community can raise the funds, a parking garage in the southwest corner of the lot, a hotel either east of Livermore Avenue or on the corner of Railroad and L Street, limits on how high buildings can be and what materials they'd be made out of, and around 130 units of workforce housing. Not every group was happy with the council's direction. In fact, there is one group in particular that's trying to delay this from actually going forward. So, we're looking to you. That is why we started this group. That is why we're here. We want you to help us make sure that downtown gets built. We don't want it delayed another 5 to 10 years. We don't want a dirt lot. We want to see downtown built now. And with your help, you can help us out and make sure that downtown does get built now.